So, folks, let's get the celebration started. I'm Tom Kastle, and welcome to Waterways for All. Some of you may know me. I'm no stranger to the museum or to the society. I think I was here when basically the Maritime Society was in Phil Elm's real estate office here in Hyde Park. And I'm also one of the co-founders of the Chicago Maritime Festival that was held at the History Museum and also at the Old Town School of Folk Music for a long time. But tonight, we want you to join us for a new chapter in the museum. With your help, we want to enhance the focus and the mission of the museum to celebrate the diverse maritime community of Chicago. But again, before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. Some of you have heard this already, some of you just arriving. We're going to call part of this a paddle raise, which basically means a hand raise. So if you notice on the reaction button at the bottom of your screen, if you click that, you will see one option that is raise hand. So let's see. Let's give that a try, actually. Can we just have everybody just raise your hand? Let's do this together. All right.
Yeah, lots of hands up.
That's looking great. That is wonderful. Okay, so let's see if we can get everybody to put your hands down at this point. It's great watching this in real time. That is fantastic. So that is a really good thing to see. Now, again, if you're not familiar with chat, maybe you get yourself familiar with that. And Daisy is our chat master. She's going to be taking down your donation information. Any technical questions, again, send those off to Daisy right away. Oh, and also, after the donation part, please stick around for some special announcements and also for a maritime music concert set by myself and my good friend Dahi Wolf, who is a phenomenal Celtic fiddler, will be doing that as well. And also a special shout out to different donors of different levels. It's amazing. We've actually had a couple people who have donated generously to the tune of $20,000 and $50,000 to the museum. Now, those are hefty sums, and the donors who want to grow with us are absolutely dedicated to that and expanding the mission. So thank you to these generous donors, and we welcome you to that partnership level tonight. And right now, we're going to go to a very special video, Waterways for All.
What is the connection between water and growth? In Chicago, it is people. For centuries, explorers, paddlers, sailors, divers, anglers, pilots, builders, tourists, and conservationists engaged with our waters. Anyone who has ever sailed to Mackinac Island, cast a net for smelt off Burnham Harbor, gone swimming off a beach, or even taken a drink of water from their sink has partaken in Chicago's waterways. Waterways for All is the theme of the 2021 Chicago Maritime Museum Festival. It's a celebration of Chicago's unique and diverse maritime community. Since 2016, the Chicago Maritime Museum has told the story of this community and Chicago's development through its waterways. Now, our newly restored lobby enables visitors to hear key historical Chicagoans speak about the importance of lakes and rivers. Discover how Louis Joliet, Jean-Baptiste Point de Sable, Gurdon Hubbard, and Daniel Burnham contributed to our understanding of Chicago's life-affirming connection to water. Meet Charles Szymanski, promoting diversity on Lake Michigan. Dan O'Connor, who began jumping in Lake Michigan last year to cope with the pandemic and escalating social unrest. And 16-year-old Tyler Moore, a South Suburban bass fishing champion who refused to confine his interest to typical youth sports. As our city transforms, so does the Chicago Maritime Museum. We have expanded our mission to convey Chicago's growing heritage of maritime diversity and inclusiveness. Our plans for expansion in the South Gallery include exhibits on Chicago-born Captain Bill Pinkney, whose solo circumnavigation of the world made him the first black sailor in the world to achieve this feat via the Great Capes, and one of the first to bring his adventures into the classroom in real time. The Chicago Maritime Museum hopes to tell these stories, but we can only do that with your help. Like Chicago's other great institutions, we require your charitable support to achieve our potential. By showing how Chicago found its soul and gained its place in the world, you can make the past a powerful force for future generations. We invite you to become part of our unfolding story with your generous sponsorship of Waterways for All.
So that's the diverse maritime community of Chicago. Actually, just a little bit of it. Next year, we hope to introduce a new exhibit celebrating Captain Bill Pinkney's work with engaging inner-city school children all around the world during his solo circumnavigation of the Earth on a sailboat commitment back in what year?
1990 or 92.
Wow. Your donations tonight will, in part, raise funds for a permanent exhibit. So, speaking of Bill, we introduce you again, who just come here from Newport, Rhode Island, and the National Sailing Hall of Fame, where he was just inducted.
Right. Well, thanks, Tom. And greetings to my Chicago friends. It's good to be back here, even though it may be a little chilly. But I'm honored that the Chicago Maritime Museum is going to do an exhibit about my travels. You know, we have a lot in common. Both myself and the museum are interested in education and committed to it, and will help to bring education about our waterways to the city of Chicago and its students and population. You know, a $10,000 donation may seem like a lot of money, but for that kind of funds, we could help start an educational program in the Chicago public schools. I've seen it happen in other cities, and it works wonderfully to broaden the education of young people. Also, it will get us a couple of big donors to sign with Chicago, from Chicago's charitable organizations, and know that we are for real. Yeah, and they'll take us seriously, I think, if we can get a couple of people to combine their donations and make that $10,000 figure look like a strong figure for us to go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So let's see if we can see those hands raised. Anybody at that level? Send it in on the chat if you're shy. It was great to have you here, Bill. We're going to check out the new lobby, and you see part of it behind me right here. But the best thing to do is to come down to the Maritime Museum, which is at the Bridgeport Arts Center on 35th Street. You basically go to Sox Park, head inland until you reach right before you get wet in the river. And we are right here for sure. Also, the woman who headed up the design of this space that we're in right now, the lobby, not only is a fine designer, but she's also a shipwreck diver and a longtime member of the Maritime Society and the Maritime Museum. Meet Valerie Van Heest.
Hi, I'm Valerie Van Heest, and I love all things maritime. My relationship with Lake Michigan began at a young age, discovered the great world underneath Lake Michigan. And my first opportunity to dive on shipwrecks was because of the Chicago Maritime Museum. I joined a small group of individuals who were working on a project to document the David Dow's, the largest schooner to sail the Great Lakes. It went down in 1889 off the shores of South Chicago, and there it was waiting for us to tell its story. I had the opportunity to design my first shipwreck-related exhibit for the Michigan Maritime Museum. So my firm, Lafferty Van Heest and Associates, was invited back so many years after my first exhibit for this museum to design a new experience for the Chicago Maritime Museum. This is an immersive exhibit that will take you back in time to meet the characters who were so important to growing Chicago from a muddy marsh to the metropolis that it is today. And then after meeting these 4 individuals who are so important to Chicago's history, you'll look at the various different vessels that really helped develop the city, from canoes to schooners to steamships, and even the great aircraft carriers that trained pilots for World War II. The Chicago Maritime Museum is so important because this is where we can learn about our roots. Without the waterways, there would be no Chicago. And so to come here and explore our roots and understand where we came from gives us a perspective on where we're going in the future. I am so excited to be part of the Chicago Maritime Museum's Waterways for All. This is a great opportunity to celebrate the diversity of enjoying Chicago's lakefront and our waterways. If you can, we'd so much appreciate that you contribute to this great Chicago Maritime Museum and help us preserve history for now and for the future. So come on down to the Chicago Maritime Museum and immerse yourself in this wonderful history.
Thank you, Valerie. Speaking of taking a big dive, it took a serious CMM benefactor to make this lobby happen. Visitors are now greeted at the entrance by 4 important historical figures who understood that the benefits and protected of the Chicago waterways. They did their part to make the waterways that we have today.
Yeah.
Folks, when you raise your paddle, you fund the museum's infrastructure so that we can develop exciting exhibits like these. Do you know that $5,000 would help to pay for the museum's rent for a month or support our staff's salaries and insurance? And that's a big thing. We need to have a good, strong infrastructure. I can't even speak. The cold weather's getting me.
See, I know it's always cold.
Yeah. But it is a fact that would support strongly the infrastructure, which is paying the rent. Everybody's got to pay the rent. We need to do it here too. So come on and give us a hand.
Definitely. And we learned a lot this year in planning this event about the maritime community. And we also want to take a look at a few of the folks that helped make this possible by our ad campaign.
I think I'm just going to...
Conserving Waterways for All. We have dive groups. We have groups that are working with the community in building boats, swimmers, a young man who's a fishing champion you'll meet in just a little bit, and also the founder of the Rainbow Regatta, a very special person who, if you ever told him to go jump in the lake, he would definitely do it. And the rowing community in Chicago, who I'm just beginning to get to know. It's really, really great to see all of those people on the waterways. Bill, can you imagine, 40 years ago that the Chicago River would be filled with recreational boats?
I didn't believe it. I know what it was filled with, and we don't even want to talk about that.
That's true. That is great. Well, look at, here we go. Actually, that's you.
Well, let's look at this. When you raise your right hand tonight, you might be just funding an exhibit for the Chicago fishing community. A lot of fishermen. I remember seeing people coming out at night for the smelt. That was a big thing, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And take Tyler Moore, for instance. At 16, he was a state champion bass fisher. I never caught a bass.
No?
No, just minnows.
Well, now's your chance.
Hi, I'm Tyler Moore.
Hi, I'm Asia Moore. I am the mother of Tyler Moore.
About 5 years ago, I went and watched YouTube videos, and I decided I wanted to try it. So I bought my first fishing rod, went out to Isaac Walton.
I was very excited when I found out that Tyler liked fishing and that he wanted to do it regularly. He was not interested in the traditional sports, the baseball, the football, and I was just glad that he found something that he was passionate about.
I really liked it, and then my mom signed me up for the Bassmaster League. and I've been competitive fishing for 4 years, and I went to state for all 4 years.
I was overjoyed. I was excited that he had accomplished so much in just his first year of finding something that he enjoyed. It just really happened quickly, and I was happy for him.
I'm excited to be a part of the Chicago Maritime Museum Waterways for All. It's important for everyone to have access to Chicago's waterways because it can help you experience the different type of fish, the different ways they act in different locations. Also, you have more space to compete. Normally, it's not even about catching the fish. I like to clear my mind and focus.
The Chicago Maritime Museum's Waterways for All is important for exposure, protection of our waterways, and just giving kids who aren't into your traditional sports an opportunity to find their place somewhere else. And the waterways create a new world of opportunities.
The Chicago Maritime Museums are helping us preserve, educate, and create experience through the Chicago waterways. It is important to donate to the Chicago Maritime Museums because they're helping us preserve waterways. Please donate to the Chicago Maritime Museum.
Isn't that an amazing story?
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know. Did you do much fishing as a kid?
Not a lot. I ate a lot.
That's true.
But I didn't fish a lot. As I said, the biggest things I could catch were minnows and smelled, of course. Those were easy to catch, dip down, get them up.
Yeah.
But I never did much fishing, and I understand bass fishing is a technique that you have to learn. You just don't throw a hook in the water.
Yeah, no, he's a really interesting young man, for sure. Oh, and here's another one. There's so many folks who are working hard to bring in diverse communities to the lakefront. And Charles Szymanski is one of them. He's leading a thing called the Rainbow Regatta right here in Chicago, a group that engages the local LGBTQ community to learn and enjoy about sailing on Lake Michigan and the waterways attached to it.
Hi, I'm Charles Szymanski. We started as a bunch of gay sailors that got together and wanted to do a pride regatta. That evolved into, okay, can't we turn this into something to help the community? We're going by rainbow races these days. Our signature event is Rainbow Regatta Chicago. So our flag is now named Priscilla, and she's about 5 feet wide. And then I added the chevrons on this year. So we started the Pride Flotilla here in Chicago last year in the middle of COVID. So when Priscilla's hoisted, that's when the parade begins. Our first year that we did it, I had no idea how many boats were actually following us because I was the lead boat. I was looking ahead of me, trying to avoid obstacles and be a safe boater. So I had no idea that we had a train of 20, 25 boats behind us. At Rainbow Races, one of our key components is diversity and bringing new people out to the sea with us. Chicago Maritime Museum is important because it preserves our maritime history. As most of you know, Chicago was founded as a trading post, and most of that trading happened by sea. Chicago is water. You can't think Chicago and not think Lake Michigan in the same thought process. If you can, contact the Chicago Maritime Museum and donate to them. They are hugely important in maintaining diversity on the water and helping water sports grow.
Hey, thanks, Charles. It's always great to get more folks out on our beautiful lake. Now, please raise those hands so we can spread our diversity message. A $2,000 donation could support website maintenance and social media outreach for part of a year. So we can get stories like the Rainbow Regatta out to the general public. Well, look at this. We just received a $2,000 donation from Sarah and Dave Metzger. You guys rock.
Well, I tell you what. Thank you, Metzger's. Waterway for All invites you, our friends and our supporters and our patrons here, to truly come on board. Not just for a year, but we've got some who've come on board right now.
Oh, yeah.
Connie Schmidt and Robert Cornwell have both come on board, and with donations of $250 and $300. That's a good running start. Let's get it moving from there.
All right. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Robert. And I think there's also other things coming in on the chat we can get to for sure. Oh, speaking of history, it takes time and effort to collect and codify all these artifacts that we have here in the museum. Did you know that a $1,000 donation could support maintaining what's called the Past Perfect acquisition software that's needed to keep track of all the things in the museum? So let's see if we can get your hands raised for that, okay?
You know what? Have you ever felt like jumping in the lake? Just jumping into the lake?
Yeah, but
Well, you know, there's somebody that's done that. There's a guy who did that every single day during 2020, during the pandemic. He calls himself the Great Lakes Jumper. And to help out some charities while doing it. His name is Dan O'Connor. I think that's pretty good. I don't think I'd want to do that every day in the lake. I think maybe in the middle of July and about one time after that. Now that looks like fun, but Tom, not all aspects of running a museum is intriguing. Some of them are downright mundane, like cleaning. Never been a good cleaner.
Hi, I'm Dan O'Connor. My friend Carla named me the Great Lake Jumper. I started jumping in on June the 13th, 2020, and I jumped in every day until June the 12th, 2021. I came up with this concept of having musicians serenade me into the lake. I had Jeff Tweedy from Wilco come out on day 365. You know, I never felt like I was going to miss a day. There was always something positive about going down to the lakefront. And I was very excited to be contacted by the Chicago Maritime Museum, and their Waterways for All program and overarching message is essential to Chicago. You see the river being redeveloped and, you know, so many people using the lakefront. And I think, you know, re-emphasizing the amazing city we have and the amazing resource that water is in Chicago. The Chicago Maritime Museum is an important cultural institution here in Chicago. So please donate or volunteer for the Chicago Maritime Museum and help them improve their mission and reach more people.
About that. But I see two here that are amazing. Trig for $1,000.
oh, yay, Trey.
And Lisa Thomas, $5,000. Now that's what we want to have folks do. Come on in, jump in, the water's fine, and we're looking for you. And if you can't afford that, come on in at $500. It would, you know, it would help us with our cleaning every month. It would help us have a huge population of popular Third Friday marine lecture series.
Yeah.
It will help. So we want 500. If you can't do 500, as someone says, do what you can.
Exactly. We're just about finished with the paddle race portion, but it doesn't mean that the giving is over. In fact, you can give anytime. Not just here.
All the time.
All the time. By going to ChicagoMaritimeMuseum.org. ChicagoMaritimeMuseum.org. We'll always accept those generous donations.
Give early and often.
That's true. Oh, there's also, right here.
For those of you who don't have the big bucks and deep pockets, we want you to come on board as well. You know, just a donation of $100 could show a big effect, because what happens is the more people that build on that $100, the better off we can be. That's a strong base. That's a substantial a sustaining member
Yeah.
at a $100 donation. So that's a pretty good deal.
That's right. And also, there is a really, really important thing to do at $35, which is become a member. If you become a member of the museum, you are part of the crew. You are part of the membership. This is the level that's really valued greatly, because adding more members is vital to keeping the museum sailing along. It gets you a year-long membership to the museum and all the benefits. And also, you know, with the holidays coming up, they make great gifts.
Certainly, now there's a nice stocking stuffer.
Yeah. For all the sailors that you know, all the divers that you know, all of the
people that want to be.
And paddlers.
That's it.
And people that jump into the lake for no reason at all. It's just,
that's it. That's the
they're
way to
all
do it.
there. They're people that really would love to have you as members.
Even those people that just stand on the bank and look at our beautiful lake.
Oh.
Come on aboard.
Yeah.
Be a part of Chicago. Remember that Chicago Maritime Museum.
That's right. Now you have a special guest, I think.
I got a special guest,
There we go.
a man that I've known for quite a while, and a man who has been really instrumental in the start of my circumnavigation, and that was Captain Dave Truitt. He joins us for a few words of thanks. But first, we have a special announcement to make. Tonight, thanks to the generosity and vision of our chairman, the museum is now the recipient of a $1 million Captain Dave Truitt Chicago Maritime Museum Endowment. Folks, this is history in the making, the largest gift ever for the museum. I want to introduce you to Captain Truitt.
Thank you, Captain Bill. You know, I've been involved with this project for many years. It's grown and grown, and we have this tremendous amount of staff that we all love and a great board. And it occurred to me, I'm not going to live forever. And I would really like this organization to continue to grow after I'm not here. And what I want the people who come here and love this museum and love the subject matter and how it's so much fun, and particularly the kids. I come here and I start talking to the parents and the kids start telling me how great this is. You know, that just does it for me. Well, the museum not only got better, it got great because it tells the real story of a single subject of how the waterways created Chicago. This is not generally in the books. It's about the politicians and the guys with guns and all like that. But the real thing that happened is the waterways were the creation of Chicago. Well, as I saw the museum getting better and better and better and having really nothing wrong with it, the problem was they ran out of money. And I would make gifts, and we had other guys who would make gifts, a lot of people interested, some for 5 years, some for 2 years. And the museum got better and better and better, but it didn't have longevity in its future. I wanted it to be permanent. I wanted people to come here and bring their kids when they had kids, because that's what was all the fun in this museum. I thought we ought to set it up so that people who love this museum can contribute to it. And that's what I'm asking people to do, and they are doing it. And the museum is now, I'm a part of it, but there's a large part of it that are the members, the directors, and our donators. So everything is working out very well. We now have more and more people coming here. Everybody seems to love it, but best of all, we're getting more donors, and that's going to make it permanent and better. As you can see, we're better now than we were a year ago.
Captain Dave Truitt.
Hey, good to see you, Captain.
Good to see you. You've taken on a great responsibility. Congratulations. You're going to be heading this museum and taking it on to the next millennium.
I hope
I'm
so.
looking for that.
Okay.
Congratulations
Thank
again.
you for coming. You know, I don't know if people know that
This
we've
is
known
my
each
hometown.
other for
Third
years.
generation Chicagoan. I had to be here for this.
Okay, good. Okay.
We would like to also thank the Chicago Maritime Museum Festival Committee for your many volunteer hours put in to get this event together. And our new partners, those sailors and swimmers and divers who came together to support our ad campaign. Another big thanks to our creative partners for their entertainment and technical expertise. And lastly, a big thank you to all our event sponsors who truly came on board this year to help us grow. Now let's enjoy the Maritime musical entertainment by a multi-talented co-host, Tom Kastle.
Part of this. There's a couple of announcements. First of all, a couple more contributions that just came in from Chuck Perry for $500, Stan Mahaffey for $500, Karen Harris for $250 as well, and a couple other ones that are happening too. Now, it's been a tough year from a whole lot of people, but I'd like to start out this concert by dedicating it to Lorraine Freeman, who's a designer who is responsible for these ads that are in back of us, and actually a lot of the design of this entire night. All the ad campaigns and everything that you've been seeing tonight, and getting so much interest focused on this event. So Godspeed to you, Lorraine. Was he ever mirror machine? You guys can applaud. This is live. Here we go. Come on. This is my good friend Dahi Wolf on fiddle. You can apply.
Great to be here.
Great. And can we roll those ads we were just talking about? Yeah, this is some of Lorraine's really, really fine work. Thank you, Lorraine. Now, before I was mentioning that I didn't really know anything about Chicago maritime history until I joined the Maritime Society, which would eventually become the Maritime Museum. and met a whole bunch of people on board a sailing ship called the Charlotte Ann, which you can see part of when you come to the museum.
I just saw it right over there.
Yes, right. That's where I met Captain Truitt. Way back in the day. And it changed my whole world. And it was an amazing thing. This next song, for those of you who have been watching sea shanties on TikTok, you know that there's a thing called sea shanties. Usually we wouldn't perform these with instruments because your hands are busy doing other stuff. But since we're singing and not working, at least they're not working.
We call this work.
That's true, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
We're going to do a work song that was done on the docks in Chicago, quite possibly right out that door.
Yeah.
Back around 1880, 1890. And I know you have yourself muted at home, but hopefully we can get everybody here to sing the chorus of some of these songs too. So sing along with us. Please sing along with us. And especially if you're alone, nobody's going to care. And sea shanties, you don't have to have a great voice to sing sea shanties. You just have to be loud and relatively on time, okay?
It's all about the rhythm to like pull together, right?
Exactly. So this one was sung on the docks, and the chorus goes like this. Who's on the way, boys? Who's on the way? Let's have everybody here. Who's on the way, boys? Who's on the way? All right.
Yeah.
And then I'll do another line, then we'll go, tell me where you going.
Tell me where you going.
I love it. Now the captain's in the pilot house ringing the bell.
Who's on the way, boys? Who's on the way?
And it's down to me next give it, boys.
Tell me where you go.
Now smokestack's black and the whistle's brown. Who's on the way, boys? Who's on the way? And I wish to the Lord I'd stayed in town. Tell me where you go. Now city folks lying there in their beds. Who's on the way, boys? Who's on the way? Oh, we'll push copper until we're dead. Tell me where you go. I wish I was in old Detroit. Till on the way, boys, who's on the way? Sitting in this copper both day and night. Tell me where you go. I was in Baltimore. Who's on the way, boys?
Who's on the way?
And I won't be working these boats no more. Tell me where you go. Now it's a stack and the whistle's brown. Who's on the way, boys? Who's on the way? And I wish to the Lord I stayed in town. Tell me where you go. Now the captain's in the pilot house ringing the bell.
Who's on the way, boys? Who's on the way?
Down Tweed, next David Boys Hill. Tell me where you go. Once again, tell me where you go. One more time. Tell me where you go. Thank you. All right. Now, one of the things you're going to find at the Chicago Maritime Museum is a lot of artifacts and stories about a ship called the Eastland. A lot of people get all, fascinated with the Titanic. But this one is the greatest loss of life on the Great Lakes didn't happen during a storm. It didn't happen during any kind of meteorological phenomena. It happened basically just about under the Clark Street Bridge on the main branch of the river, when the Eastland tipped over and 835 people were lost. They went down to the docks, all in the Sunday best, but the picnic turned a bitter twist of fate. As they were about to set sail, crowding toward the port side rail, and the ballast could now hold the shifting weight. Now the ship, she's rolled o'er by
the ship from the moment she slid down. And as a crank she was known the lakes around. For her draft was cut in two, and she'd not obey the crew. True balance for her never would be found. Now the ship she's rolled o'er on the river's muddy floor, 835 would not survive. But the crew remained alive as they scrambled for the side to seek safety there upon the shore. Some say it was the captain's fault, some say the owner's greed, some say the engineer was all to blame, or inspectors on the take, and they caused a big mistake, and all of them were silent in their shame. Now the ship she's rolled o'er on the river's muddy floor, 835 would not survive. Those inside slowly died as the water rushed inside, and the crying and the screams were heard no more. Now the ship she's rolled o'er on the river's muddy floor, 835 not survive. With a fatalist aboard, the captain to report that Eastland she will sail the lakes no more. That Eastland she will sail the lakes no more. Thank you. I forgot to put this down, but it's expected.
Sailing show without a concertina.
That's true. Unfortunately. But this is a song, it's one of my favorite songs to do. That's right. Because it talks about the real things that sailors do. Like sailors when they get paid to go into port and they spend their money.
On what?
Oh, their welcome is warm. And then when the money runs out, so does the... And what?
Yeah.
That was true back in the 1840s when the song was written. It was true in the 1940s, according to my dad and my uncle. And I have a feeling next spring it's going to happen all over again. Because ships may come and ships may go, wherever the sea doth roll. Each sailor lad, just like his dad, he loves the flowing bowl. A trip ashore he does adore, with a girl that's pumping around. When your money's all gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack John, sit down. Come along, you jolly way boys, and let's work dog in the jar. Proud of the bride in your ship, the jolly rolling tire. And when he's home, it's then he'll steer for some old boarding house. They'll welcome him with a rum and gin, they'll feed him on pork souse. He'll mend and nod at till he's lying there up to the ground. When your money's all gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack John, sit down. Come along, you jolly bay boys, and let's work dog in the jar. Oh, proud of the bride of ship with the jolly rolling tire. Hey! And weather beat, too old to muck about. In some grog shop they'll let him stop till late Bill's calls him out. He'll reach his eyes up to the sky, saying, boys, we're homeward bound. But When your money's all gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack Johnson. Come along, you jolly merry boys. That's what grog in the jar. Oh, pal, the barney of share the jolly rolling tire. Come along, you jolly merry boys. That's what grog in the jar. Oh, pal, the barney of share the jolly rolling tire.
All right.
Thank you.
That was a fun song.
Whoa! Well, we just had. Jerry, come here. Come on. This is Jerry Thomas, who has a message for everyone. Here we go.
So far, and of course we're counting until the end of the year,
Yeah.
103,385. Thank you.
Yes. It doesn't mean we've stopped. No. Because
We've hit a milestone.
we have a lot more to go. So thank you so much. It's great to be part of the crew, you know? And I'm not sure if this applies, but my other maxim is you're never too old to run away to sea. But speaking of run away to sea, Bill's raising his hand.
Yeah.
You were just sailing, come on.
55 I started.
All right.
1955?
No, he was 35 years old.
You were 50
Yeah.
when he started around the world. 55.
Yep.
I didn't realize that. Wow. That's, yeah. So if he can do it, you can do it. Well, I don't know if it's in everybody around the world, but it takes a little bit. But this song for me is kind of special because it talks about getting into all this and the schooner Charlotte Ann. And when I was first studying about, maritime history, and especially in Chicago, I knew at the end of the season, if you were here in the 1880s, you would probably, November, you would probably be up aloft 50, 60 feet up in the rig with a bucket of tar and a brush, brushing down the standing rigging. And your mates would be down below you, putting the sails and the running rigging away and building a winter house over the whole deck. Well, in the 1980s, I found myself 50 feet up in the rig with a bucket of tar, thinking things hadn't changed that much. And this is a tune I wrote about it. It's Lee's Dunn and a whole bunch of other folks. It's called Cold Winds. Cold winds blow across the harbor. Cold winds on the inland sea. Same winds that call our fathers. Cold winds are calling me. Ice forms on deck and whispers. Light a fire and stay below. Shut up tight, the winds all whisper. Pass the bottle, it's time to go. Cold winds blow across the harbor. Cold winds on the inland sea. Same winds that call our fathers. Cold winds are calling me. Rise up, and dog the hatches. Mind your hands, they're cracked and sore. Check the lines on your way inland. It's time to get a job ashore. Cold winds blow across the harbor. Cold winds on the inland sea. Same winds that called our fathers. Cold winds that calling me. storm. Early snows mean early winters. Taste each season as it goes. Cold winds blow across the harbor. Cold winds on the inland sea. Same winds that caught our fathers. Cold winds are calling me.
Tom wrote that song. Isn't that great?
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you much. Yeah. Well, one thing that we do with the Chicago Maritime Festival is we brought artists in from all over the world. And we brought in sailors, like Bill Pinkney, who spoke there. It was a reflection of the maritime community. And we also had people from other maritime museums there. The Michigan Maritime Museum, the Wisconsin Maritime Museum, the Erie Maritime Museum, the Shedd Aquarium, the Friends of the River, and all these different people gathering. And we're all waiting for a focal point. And now we've got the focal point. It's right here at the Chicago Maritime Museum. And I'm not seeing a lot of hands up, so maybe at least that $35 membership so you can become part of this would be really incredible to have right now. And this is a song I picked up from a wonderful French performer by the name of Philippe Morel, who was at the Maritime Festival probably about a decade ago at this point. And it's an old French whaling song, so this is my version of Philippe's version of a traditional French whaling song. And it's, as some of you know, it's also my version of French. So, you know.
Oui, oui.
I have sailed 1,000 seas, I'm your merchant navigate. I could find my love again.
I think they got the whale.
Oh, we got the whale, that's true. Ah! Linda Kawano is in the audience and playing guitar with the show. Awesome. Hey! That's right. Oh, yeah.
E minor, D minor.
Yeah, that was E minor, Linda. I think the next one is going to be, it's also going to be in E minor. So, and it's a sing along too. So we're going to do that. So for all the folks at home, that's E right there. If you could do that, that would be awesome. This is a Great Lakes classic, and it's got a wonderful chorus. It started out as a dance tune, I believe in Ireland, I'm not sure. It went to England and became a song about a ship called the Dreadnought. And when it came to Chicago, it became a song about the Great Lakes. Somewhere around the 1870s or so. And it's got a nice chorus, which is just... Now I've got the other song on my mind. I can't get this one out. That's right. Down, down, down-derry-down. This is even easier than the last one.
Okay.
Give it a try.
All right.
Down, down, down-derry-down. This one even has Chicago in it. Come all you bold sailors who follow the links on an iron or freighter you're living to make a ship from Chicago, say goodbye to the shore, all the way to Wisconsin and the red iron on Derry down, 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 Derry down. The next morning we hove up along the Exile, a silver make faster an iron ore pile. They lower their ships and like thunder did roar, and they spouted into us that red iron on Derry down, 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 Derry down. Some sailors took shovels, others took spades, some took wheelbarrows, each man to his trade. We looked like red devils, our fingers were sore, and we cursed Escanaba and the red iron on Derry down, 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 Derry down. Across Saginaw Bay, the Roberts did ride. We dark and deep water rolling over its side. She went through the North Passage, oh Lord, how it blew, and all round the dummy the followed to Derry down, 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 Derry down. Now the Roberts in Cleveland, they passed them and stirred, but over a bottle was spin a good yarn. For Captain Harry Shannon, he upped his standard for to get into Cleveland ahead of the fleet. Derry down, 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 Derry down. Derry down, 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 Derry down. Derry down, 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 Derry down. Well, let's do Moonlight tonight. And then
Yeah,
we'll
it's
really have-
beautiful.
So yeah, I'm going to dedicate this to Lorraine and also to some of the folks that aren't here, and most recently Jay Chrissy. And it's got a beautiful chorus. It just goes moonlight, starlight, moonlight shines so bright, moonlight tonight, oh it's starlight tonight. Moonlight shines on the water. So this is a song I picked up in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and it's from an old folk music collection, and also a fellow named Corey Croft who was singing up there. And he said that basically commercial fishermen were singing this tune on their way out of Halifax Harbor almost all the way up to World War II. So not only did he teach me the song, but he sent me the field recording that went with it. And this is pretty much the way they did it back in the day. And that chorus. Moonlight, starlight, moonlight shines so bright. Moonlight tonight, oh So how are we doing on time, and how are we doing for money? Very good. Because we have planned this show right down to the very second. It's absolutely amazing how we've done with this. It's just great. Just playing through. Yeah. But I think the other thing that got me into maritime music of the Great Lakes is playing at an Irish pub in St. Paul, we were talking about. And we did this song, and somebody came up to me afterwards and said, "Oh, that's cool. Great Lakes song. Do another one." I had no idea there were any other ones. So since we're getting into November soon.
Oh, yeah. Y'all know this one.
The legend lives on from Chippewa. On a big lake they go get you. The lake it is said never gives up her dead. When the skies are all never come with the load or 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald made up days. A good shipman crew was about to be true when the gales of November come early. Now the ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, where the crew and the captain was himself. Come put in some turns with a couple of steel ferns. They left while they loaded from Cleveland. And later that night, when the light of the sight came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Supper time came, the old cook came on deck, saying, "Fellas, it's too rough to feed y'all." 7 p.m. a main hatchway gave it, saying, "Fellas, it's been good to know ya." Now the captain wired it, he had worked a minute, and the crew was in peril. And later that night, when his lights out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God made Whitefish Bay? If they put 15 more miles behind her, they might have split up, they might have capsized, they may have built deep out of the water. But all that remains is the faces and the names of the wives and the sons and the daughters. The Lake Huron rolls, Superior sings in the rooms of her ice water mansion. Oh, Michigan steams like a young man's dream. The islands and bays of her sportsmen, and farther below, Lake Ontario takes in when Lake Erie gets under. As the iron boats go, as the mariners all know, and the gales of November in the burn. In dusty old hall in Detroit they pray at the Maritime Sailors Cathedral. The church bell chime rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. Now the legend lives on from the Chippewa down on the big lake they call Gitche. Superior it's that never gives up her dead when the skies of November come to heat. the tune we're going to finish up with our portion of the song of the night with, but I do hope that you can continue. Send in those donations. Daisy is still in the chat, right? Yep, she's still in the chat. She might be manning it 24/7 now. I'm not really sure, but we won't hold her to it. But this is a song that I first knew as a song from England, Rolling Home to Dear Old England. And then I heard it as Rolling Home to Nova Scotia. And then in the Ivan Henry Walton collection, it's Rolling Home to Old Chicago. I think we ended 13 Chicago Maritime Festivals with this song.
Nice.
So this is for all of you. And as we're moving on into this new phase here at the Maritime Museum, we hope that you can join us. So, this is a verse and a chorus. Lady calls up all hands, and the captain walk around. Heave her up, boys, with a will, for we are homeward bound. Rolling home, yeah, rolling home across the sea, rolling home to old Chicago, rolling home near town to me. Up the river on a tow line, past the city of Detroit, where the cinders fell on deck all the day and half the night. Rolling home, rolling home across the sea, rolling home to old Chicago, rolling home to town to me. Rolling home across the sea, rolling home to old Chicago, rolling home dear town to thee. Now, thank you. I'd like to show you our staff. Come on.
Thanks, everybody.
Here we are.
Da, 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 da. Good night.
Good night.